self-care is not selfish. It's actually the biggest part of showing love that you could offer to your family, your friends, and your community.
As women, we nurture and take care of the world. And so it's just so important to make your health, your self-care numero uno. So
get around people who are going where you want to go and who are where you want to be. And that's exactly what I did. I wanted to be in real estate, so I got around people who were doing things in real estate that I wanted to do.
So you might not be able to move things around or change what happened to you, but if you can change the way that you see it and how you're reacting to it, there's a way.
Just do what you have to do. There's no excuse. This morning, I knew that if I didn't get up at 4 in the morning and clear out my emails and do everything that I needed to do.
You don't want the government to dictate or a judge to dictate how your hard-earned sacrifice and wealth gets distributed to your family and your loved ones.
Our culture is embedded in American culture. There are people who come to America and engage in American culture, which is Black culture. So Juneteenth is really about Black culture, and it's about celebrating us, celebrating the different diasporas of Black people, even the dialects.
From the roots of tradition to the rise of reconnection, where history meets the heart of Africa. Celebrate freedom, culture, and homecoming. This isn't just a trip, it's a return. The motherland is calling. Will you answer?
All right. Hello, everyone. So we are having some technical difficulties today. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to rock out how we rock out. So hello, everyone. My name is Athenia Rodney, CEO and founder of Juneteenth NYC. We are super excited to have you on this Thursday. Today has been a day. I feel like it's only, what time is it? It's just turning noon. I feel like I've had a whole day, like it feel like 6 o'clock in the evening. And I still have a million and one things to do, but God is good all the time. And I'm not going to complain because he woke me up this morning. And I am very thankful for that. So I was having some issues on my phone, on my computer. So we're going to rock out on the phone and we're going to make it work the way we do. Because we release perfection, right? And all things, perfection is not a space that we need to operate in because it destabilizes us and it causes us not to move forward. And that is something I'm always teaching and working with people on, that I coach in business, is that we cannot operate in a space of perfection because life is not perfect. It is made for us to make mistakes. It is made for us to have challenges, and it's made for us to show up in our authentic selves, because that's life, right? That's real life, right? So today we have a really amazing speaker that will be joining with us. I actually met him on the Lineable, and we were in a breakout room together, and he was just like dope individual, and he's just talking about all these great things. And as he's talking about himself, I'm just sitting there like getting excited, like, you know, that double Dutch jump, like, all right, I can't wait to tell you about me and what I got going on, because like there's so much alignment. Then we had a one-on-one, and the alignment was very, very real in so many things that we're talking about. So today we're stepping into a conversation that goes beyond business, into ownership, right? And a lot of us are in a space where ownership is not always, we don't think that it's possible. And we really don't understand what ownership is. Like, my son is starting his business. He goes live on Saturday with his candle business, and the last 2 or 3 weeks, he's had to do the work, and he's 11. And he's like, this is not easy. And I'm like, yeah, being an entrepreneur is not easy. And a lot of people think that it is. And so I'm grateful that we get to talk about what ownership is. We get to talk about circulation. And the biggest part of this, we get to talk about collective economic power and what that is and what that means in our society. Because we don't do a lot of that. Because why? We don't trust each other. And we have to break down those barriers of trust so that we can move to the next phase, which is collective power. So we're going to be talking about building ecosystems, not just income, because income is singular. It's talking about you. When we build an ecosystem, we're talking about how it circulates amongst us and continues to come back and flow into and out of us. We're talking about access, not just opportunities, access to resources, access to each other in a way that we've talked about on this Juneteenth platform, that has been economic growth, right? If you joined us last night when we talked about finance on our Wednesdays finance sessions, that's all we're talking about is growth. And most importantly, we're talking about how we show up for each other in a way that creates lasting wealth and legacy. And yes, everybody's in it to make money. And once we put that on the table and everybody knows and we leave the bag on the table, like put the bag over there. We're all here to make money, granted. So how do we come together in collaboration? So guiding us through this conversation is this powerful brother. He's a visionary leader, innovator, and a builder, Mr. A.T. Holt. Welcome to the stage. How you doing? How you doing?
I am doing well. I will tell you, I'm doing the same thing with the technical thing or whatnot. I had to reboot just before I was talking to your producer, just before coming on. I had to reboot browsers and all of that. So, hey, we understand how to move forward, even though things are not perfect around us, right? God made it so we can go forward there. We always have an adversary, a spiritual adversary or whatnot. And, we've got to push through and whatnot. So I'm just happy to be here. I'm elated. I'm glad my visuals are working. Glad the lighting is good. Glad my skin is okay. This melanin is popping and whatnot. So that's it,
The melanin is popping for sure. I wanted to turn sideways so I can get a full view.
There you go. That landscape,
There we go. We making it work, like in real time. We making it work.
In real time. Absolutely.
So AT, I do want to share a little bit about you. So I know that you are the founder and CEO of Kishandi. Is that how you pronounce it?
Kishandi Technology, yes.
Kishandi Technology. So Kishandi Technology, you also of the CEO and founder of CirculateBLACK.com.
That's correct.
And the chairman of the board for Red Worldwide Inc.
Yes.
So I do want to, and I'm gonna read some of these other accolades as well, because I like to, we gotta give each other flowers like while we're here, right? And we don't always accept it very well, especially when we're like, yeah, this is just who I am. I do it, right? I don't do it for the accolades, but I want to give you the accolades. With more than 2 decades of experience in digital technology, media, and business development, he has worked with organizations ranging from small businesses to major corporations, including collaborations with the Greater Washington Black Chamber of Commerce, Radio One, and the Potter's House. Oh, dope. Come on now. But beyond his impressive portfolio, AT's mission is deeply rooted in his purpose, and I love that. AT is committed to creating systems where Black businesses don't just survive, but they thrive together. Through CirculateBLACK.com, he is building a nationwide ecosystem designed to keep dollars, resources, and opportunities circulating within the community. So thank you again for joining us and for your wealth of knowledge and your background. I also see that you are a person grounded in faith, just like myself. And that is always a blessing to be in community with someone like that. So I'm going to jump right in. Talk to us about Circulate Black first. What inspired you to create CirculateBLACK.com?
Well, what inspired me, I would say economic changes a little bit, learning a little bit of history, seeing what's happening. When I entered into the corporate space, I entered into business. I've been in the corporate space for most of my adult life, but I've seen the corporate pimp slaps happen. That's what I call them, where they use you up, and then next thing you know, they spit you out, and then there's no resources that are there. They make you think you're in the room, in those spaces, and then when it comes down to it, you're really not, right? And then I started noticing that there were always groups, there were always cliques, there were always high level of different tiers of societies that kind of support each other, you know. And I started looking at all the other things, you know, like when you played football, you know, you have your friends, your jocks, your crew, you know, and everything, and you guys have a certain thing that you do to support each other, right? So there are groups like that all over the place. And then I started looking at you know, classes, you know, like the wealthy class, the middle class, the unwealthy class or whatnot, the poor and all of that. But I also noticed that they also come together in ways to support each other too. Then I started looking at ethnicities and race and everything, because I've been turned down before for positions. I've been turned down for opportunities, but then I would see the person next to me get the opportunity, and it seemed like almost like nepotism, like they were family and they got in there just because of their name, association, and what they were doing, right? And if they didn't meet the task or whatnot, then they had a community to help them, bring them up to speed so that they can meet the task, so that they can all survive alone. I mean, together, right? And survive independently as a group, and then also share their resources out to everyone else. So I saw that this was happening with every community, but it was lacking from our own community, right? So we come together in a way and make resources happen, but then the resources are taken from us while our cups are not full. And, you know, we share them with everyone else, we get a promise, and they just take it and they circulate it in their own communities. And I said, you know what? We have to do that ourselves as well. So that was kind of the deep inspiration behind me making sure that I did this. I would see wealth go through every other group. I would see them grow, excel. I would see the housing developments, the commercial projects, all of this. And I'm like, yo, why is this happening? Why is this not happening with us? Because there are a ton of well-qualified individuals within our community who do the same and who've done more to even help build the others. And I'm like, no, we've got to build ourselves. And then the last thing is I heard someone say, and it stuck with me, you know, you should just pick yourself up by your own bootstraps. Now, if you know, you know that, yeah, I'll use that hashtag. If you know, you know. So that's, yeah. So I said, oh, you know what, we will do that. You know, we'll pick ourselves up by our own bootstraps, but you know, we just want to make sure that we constantly support each other through all of this and make sure that it's successful for all. So, you know, those are the inspiring moments or ideals that caused me to say, nah, we need Circulate Black. We need to circulate in our own community and whatnot to build wealth and infrastructure from within.
Yeah, so a couple of things you mentioned, you shared some highlights. So one, you see me here, I went to Middlebury College. It is a predominantly white school in Vermont. Everybody's like, Vermont? How'd you end up in Vermont? And I'm like, yeah, I was one of very few Black people. I think it was about 7% African American or 7% Black. And that included Hispanics, that included Africans, Jamaicans, like people from the actual countries.
Wow.
That were there. And I too saw a lot of that. And that was a big reason for why Juneteenth was so important for me, because I went to this predominantly white school and I saw all of the resources that happened in that space. I saw how people connected. Even the caliber of individuals that we were able to get as our keynote speakers for graduation. We had Mr. Rogers from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, who was one of our, before he passed, we had Keanu Reeves was one of our speakers. They also had a mayor that I'll leave to be nameless of New York City because he's just not worth it. But the fact that we got him to come to the school, you know, it was still like that big kind of thing. And then I did a semester at Spelman College and I saw the difference. I saw the difference in our endowments, and people don't even understand like what endowments do for a college, how it allows for legacy. Because when I went down to Spelman, that was at the time that Morris Brown was closing down because they had lost funding and they had lost their accreditation. And that meant all the students who were freshmen, that pretty much even through the seniors, that the credits that they had garnered the time that they were there were to seem to be not valid because the school had lost their accreditation. And those things for me were like, oh my gosh, look at this. Look at this world and how things are operating in this monolithic space in a more Eurocentric area versus in our Afrocentric space, and how we are not, we're not together. Like the things that we focused on, it astounded to me. We put so much money into getting concerts and doing a concert for the halftime show for the homecoming, and in Vermont, they never spent $1. Halftime show, like, you know, we would get a concert. Like, no, the game was the show. Like, you know, we might have a cheerleader team that would come on stage, and that would be it. But they weren't spending thousands of dollars. I'm like, those thousands of dollars could have been reinvested back into the school in some way. So I love that you started this organization, especially based off of your own experiences, because I think that's what God definitely does. He pours things into us. He allows us to see and be a part of things so that we can make changes in our immediate future. And that's why I came back too. And I was like, look, we're going to do Juneteenth and we're going to do it differently. I understand Juneteenth is happening in different places and they utilize it for this way and utilize it for that way. But before I got on today, I just had a mind-blowing conversation, and it is what God poured into my heart 10 years ago. Not even, this is our 17th year, almost 20 years ago, God poured into my heart that this is what would happen. And it's coming to actualization this year, and moving forward in the future. So continue to keep with that. And I'm just excited and thankful for the partnership that that we're looking to kind of build with Circulate Black. So,
my honor.
No problem. So I know you talked about, so when I think about circulating black, I think about circulating black dollars, right? And I know that it's also known, similar to what you were saying, right? The dollar doesn't stay in the black community very long. Something like 6 hours is what I'm told. However, in the Jewish community, it's more like 14 days. In the Caucasian, you said it was longer than that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, see, look, in the Caucasian community, it was something like 28 days or 30 days or something like that. So like, you know, we like hours, like that means that as soon as the money comes into our pocket, it leaves our community. It doesn't even circulate into the next person. So how did that, I guess, come into even creating the name Circulate Black for your organization?
Well, I mean, it came from the term circulate the black dollar in the black community, and I just shortened it to Circulate Black. Also, I look at the stock market, right? So when a stock is not doing well, it's in the red, but when it's profitable, it's in the black, right? And so I think that this whole country, the United States, has profited in the black, if you know what I mean. You know, we know how the cotton industry really built this country, right? On the backs of blacks, right? In those fields picking cottons, but it caused this country to be very wealthy, right? So they profited in the black from the blacks, right? So I'm like, well, we've been here. Everyone talks about reparations and all of this type of stuff, and we just need to have that for ourselves, you know, instead of having it given out or taken. You know, we need to take some of that back, whatnot. So I think about the circulation of funds, like you mentioned, it leaves our community within 6 hours. And now the numbers, they're saying, you know, I had looked at one time, our spending power every year is $1.8 trillion. Now someone said it's exceeded $2 trillion, right? And to know that leaves within 6 hours, it really gets to me. So I was thinking about the things of when I built Circulate Black, I said, hey, this is a resource I want to give. And then I ended up getting the contract to work with the Black Chambers of Commerce, U.S. Black Chambers, Heartland, St. Louis Black Chamber of Commerce, Heartland Chamber of Commerce, Kansas City, you know, a few other cities or whatnot too. And so I was able to learn the pulse of Black America. I was able to see what Black businesses needed, not only from my area, but from different areas. and then streamline those services and put those resources. Streamline those resources and put them into one platform as an ecosystem. So it all came together because I'm a geek head as well, right? You know, I love doing web development. That's what Kashande Technology is. That's what pays the bills to make sure Circulate Black grows until you guys come on and do some more, right? You know, we get more engagement, then we're able to grow a lot more, right? But yeah, so I was able to take all of that, put it into the platform, and still carry on the mantra of circulating the Black dollar, circulating wealth in the Black community, circulating resources, bartering, all of that, you know, and also circulating our news and our stories, and not have to worry about a large propaganda engine trying to silence our voices. So I have that built in. So it's just a part of what I've experienced, part of what I do, and I have a passion for it. So that's how it all came together.
So tell us, you said a whole lot, because we've been, I don't know if you saw, I had shared the other day, Juneteenth has been the victim of our First Amendment rights being stripped from us, right? We had over 8,000 followers on our social media pages. It's in Instagram, and then maybe another 10,000 in our Facebook page. It was totally removed. None of it, removed. Like if you looked it up, gone completely. Myself also, you can't even find my name. I can't even open an account anymore, like completely shut down.
Wow.
And so when it comes to that, it's like, yeah, just trying, you're talking about silencing us. And we didn't share anything negative. Only thing that we shared was about our education, about our history, the true stories, the untold stories. I mean, like we were having meetings and conversations with individuals across the country who were elders, and they were telling us their story, and that was all stripped and removed from us. So just to say that there's a space that we can be authentically ourselves is a great thing.
Yes, absolutely.
So I want to know a little bit about your thoughts, right? So we can get in nitty gritty about things.
Yeah.
What are the biggest barriers that you feel are preventing communities from building collective wealth?
Communities in general, I'll attack that, and then I'll say the Black community, right? I think communities in general haven't been in a position where they look at, they pay attention to all the resources, all the people that come together to make things work. We're kind of just in a space, especially since we have all the social media and everything like that. You just got, and AI and whatnot. You say it and it's kind of done. You go to a place, the people are there, it's kind of done. You get what you want. We're service heavy, and it makes us kind of entitled. All of us, all communities, just to not think about all the people that have to come together to make this work. Just like flying on an airline, you really don't think about the number of employees that come together to make that one flight happen, right? So I think that's what happens in the communities. The barriers have been, we're so used to seeing each other like as different family members or different experiences that we've had that have been unfavorable or whatnot, and we think, okay, well, this could happen, but yeah, I really don't know if I can trust this or trust that, right? But at the same time, I think that as communities in general, and then I'm going to come into the Black community, we don't see ourselves in those spaces, those spots. We've been trained to be worker bees. We just go work for a corporation. We collect our paycheck. Some of us go spend it on the weekend just to have some breathing room or whatnot, just to have something to do. And then we come back, the next week, and we go into the grind again. So we're like in a hamster wheel situation, not looking outside of the hamster wheel to see, hey, someone else is running on that one, but they're running a larger one. This person over here is doing this. Oh, but the water bottle is over there or whatnot. How can we work together to make sure that we bring these together and grow larger? So in a grand sense, I think that our mindset is not thinking about community, except for when it comes to just our own families, right? Now, with the Black community, we have everything telling us that we don't belong in a space. And there's so much that's put out that's negative about the Black community that we don't trust each other, and then it pits us against each other, right? And so so you have those barriers on top of it, so that when another service individual comes out in the Black community, what do we say? Oh, well, we don't know if the service or the quality is as good or whatnot. Someone can offer, we try to discount them like crazy, right? And we'll pay twice as much somewhere else because we trust that that brand is better just because it's not within the Black community. I want to change that narrative. So I think that barrier of the mindset, particularly for the Black community, has been a barrier that has kept us from doing more, greater, faster, right? It's been done before. It was done with the government against us before. Now we have all of this access and we can do it again and we can do it stronger. But I think all of the years of the oppressive, talking points, the oppressive actions or whatnot in law enforcement, even in the judicial system, even, in business in general, it created an additional barrier that says I can't even trust my community member, right? And all the stories that show the positivity, the good history, just like Juneteenth NYC has, that caused them to say, okay, we own this platform, we can shut it down.
Right.
So I think because we're not able to see ourselves in those spaces often enough, then it creates an internal barrier that says that we can't do it. It has to come at the hands of someone else. So
Yeah, and even to that, when we do start to see it in those spaces, it becomes a space of how do we tear them down, right? I mean, thinking about the Cosby Show and thinking about even Black Lives Matter, like that was an organization during COVID that would take making leaps and bounds, and then it was some wildness that came out about them utilizing money to buy houses, and it's like, no, this is their job. This is what they were doing. This is how they were paying themselves. And they took the money that they were paying themselves and they bought a house. Why is that a problem? The amount of work that they put into doing that. And now we on Front Street and they have to share their financial statements and stuff like that. Like, this is what I'm talking about. And I'm like, I don't know. And I say, I want to say that it's not us that's doing it, right? I want to say that it's not our own kind that's doing it, but I have also been a target of foolishness, internal hate, like people just like, oh, you're not Black enough. Someone created an entire website, had pictures of me, pictures of my family members that they researched from my social media pages, and they were like, well, what makes her, the page name was what makes this Juneteenth leader worthy to run an organization, and then it goes into, because my mother is from Venezuela. She's Hispanic, and her parents are Grenadian. My father is Indian American, and I'm proud to be Indian American, and all of in those spaces. So Caribbean, Indian, Hispanic, and African American. My grandmother was in the throes of the South. She was one of those cotton pickers, and she ran as far as she could when she didn't have to be in that space anymore to New York, so that she could start a life and have a better life. And so being in those spaces and hearing things like that, and I'm like, these were organizations that were our people, and they were like, Juneteenth is all about those who were enslaved, and I'm like, so you don't think that that's what I'm talking about? Well, you don't think because I have to have all of my past family members to be those who were enslaved here in America to be able to connect to the plight that we share collectively. Right. We were all slaves. We were all removed from the motherland and put in different places. So, again, just that internal fighting that we have with one another is something that is a constant threat, because I feel like we're that crabs in a barrel for real. Like we see somebody else thriving and surviving, and it's like now nobody wants to be at top, because we don't have anyone that wants to be a Martin Luther King or Malcolm X or like we don't have anybody, because people are like, it has to be an organization. It has to be a collective group of individuals who are doing something together. But then that falls apart, because whenever you got people together and people have different visions, as they start to move up the ladder, things start to be challenged. So what I guess do you have as far as protections, of course, because it's like, I would hate for us to be able to like pour into this space and really get things going, and then things like that happen. what have you thought about or talked about? Have you even thought about, what are some ways to kind of protect you, protect Circulate Black so that it continues to grow?
Well, first thing is that I do own it, just like Roland Martin owns, Roland Martin Unfiltered. So that's one of the things. I'm the sole arbiter as to what can go on and stay on the platform, right? I made sure that I could purchase from a data center and level as far as servers or whatnot. So I did that and made sure that, hey, I have as much control as possible before actually building my own data center. That's a grand plan of mine as well, to have even more control and protection over it all. But I'm not relying on building my platform on other social media platforms. So I built my own social media platform inside this platform, right? So, just like as much as you can do, post, comment, share, videos, pictures, and all that type of stuff, you can do that within Circulate Black. And I still made it free for us to get on and everything. And so it's free for everyone. You can go to CirculateBLACK.com, sign up now, and get in. That's the thing that I was thinking of first, is just having ownership, right? That's really the most solid protection you can have when it comes to, these other companies that might want to, interrupt your flow. No one's taking down any posts unless it comes to our people, right? And then at that point, it would have to be something egregious and, just something that we're not going to violate federal laws. Absolutely. But, and if it doesn't really uplift our community, then, I prefer not to see those. But at the same time, if it's a newsworthy source and it's for awareness, then I'm not going to be like, okay, well, now this doesn't, paint the greatest picture. I would rather, paint the greatest picture, but I would also want to share the news so we know what not to do, what pitfalls to avoid, and all of that stuff too, right? So just because someone comes on here and they start rocking all the Black history facts and everything like that, hey, I'm promoting that. I'm not shutting that down. We could tell the truth about Jesus. I don't mind. I know what the Bible says. Russia knows what the Bible says. Europe knows what the Bible says. And many other countries do as well, right? So that's not going to be a point of propaganda or anything for me. I don't operate in that space. We don't operate in that space as a people, as a community, right? So that's that. And I believe the more of us who come on, the idea that I have is like, listen, if you're coming into the platform and you have the mindset to tear your fellow brother and sister down, I'd rather you not be there. I'd rather you learn and then join the other side that you don't believe that you belong on. There's a side of prosperity. There's a side of wealth. There's a side of spirituality. There's a side of a physical connection, intellectual connection, and all of that. And we belong in those spaces. Walk into every room like you belong there. And that's what I want people to ultimately get when they come into Circulate Black. You belong there, and bring your people along. And if they grow, if you see someone growing, there's no competition there. Push them up, because hey, that same person, I am hoping, will be the same person to say, no, look at them. They're on the come up. Bring them up as well, right? And that's the way we grow things. I promise you, no corporation out here that launched a product had it perfect the first time around. But what happened is their supporters rallied around them, continued to put, more behind them in resources and in finances so that they could improve their processes. They improved their process. They made a better product, a better service, whatnot. And then as more people started doing business with them, then they were able to say, okay, we're making it on a global level. We want to get more. We'll drop the prices. And now we can offer more to everyone because everything is set. But we've got to get through the grunt work part of it to where say, okay, man, it may cost a little bit more right now, or seemingly cost a little bit more. But we know it's going towards a greater cause to make everything better, So you keep working on it. You have first to market, and then you. I want the people to have the first to market ideas, right? But I want to avoid the analysis paralysis ideas, right? Analyze it way too much that you paralyze yourself from moving forward, and everyone else who could benefit from the resource, right? So. But that's a lot after the question about protections and whatnot. The protection is,
No. I mean, that was good. And you went into my other area, which is competition over collaboration. How can entrepreneurs move from this whole idea of competition versus collaboration in order to advance?
Yeah, so this is where I bring in Kashande Technology as a web development company. And it's been under different names from way back when, right? 27 years, right? But I remember starting the company and running into other developers and designers and all of those great people who do awesome work. Many of them way better than me, right? So it's kind of like the Henry Ford thing. Hey, I don't know how to really build this vehicle, but I know you do. Let's bring you together and make you do it and everything. And I know you have your company over here, you have your company over there. We don't really need to compete. Let's find out how we could take your widget with this widget and this part and that part and this service and all of that and put it together to make this awesome vehicle, right? And we all joke today and say found on the road dead Ford. But anyway, and still go mad by them. And a lot of us don't even understand that they are the ones behind that Lincoln Navigator. They're also the ones behind, the originally behind the Range Rover, the Land Rover, and all of that. Yeah, that's Ford. Y'all didn't know that? Okay, all right. Yeah, anyway, but the idea was I don't see competition, I see allies, and that's the way I looked at it in my web design company. A lot of times I didn't have to be up front. I didn't have to have my name up front. I was the company that supported all the other web companies. I said, okay, well, if I'm not able to be up front, I can support all the ones that are up front. And shoot, you know what? My bank account was like, hey, hey, this works. And I stood in the gap for the other companies. I was never afraid to say, hey, I work with this company, I work with that company, I work with that company. I'll give you the name of who I'm working with, because I know that my client is still my client. And that's one of the resources is for me to know who are the best people to do business with and to align them with for the purpose of having their services done. So if we adopt the mindset to say, you're not really a competitor, you're an ally. And we always say this, there's enough out here for everyone, so, don't leave money on the table and all of that type of stuff, right? And there was one time I opened two companies and everybody thought they were competing against each other. And they just actually were just two different ways to promote the same brand, supporting everyone else. And so, that's, I think that if you understand that every company that's out there that you may see as a competitor can actually be an ally in one way or another, especially in the digital age that we're in, we all have a way that we can support each other. Keep that first and foremost, and keep that front of mind and top of mind, and then you're going to do well. Everybody will do well as a collective group.
Yeah, that's really good. I that was my big thing. My first business was an event planning, doing balloons, and when I first got started, I went to the balloon store and I had gotten a big job, and I really didn't know how to do the job. And I, was asking some of the more seasoned people that were there, and I was like, hey, what tips can you offer me on how to, do this job? It was like to do a 300-foot arch over the street in Harlem. And he said, I will never forget this. And he said, just give it to me, because you're just gonna mess it up. And I was like, you know what? Just because you said that, I'm not gonna give it to you, and I'm not gonna talk to you ever again. And I'm gonna continue. I'm gonna figure out. I'm gonna do all the work myself. And I reached out to other people. I did it. Now, it was a big catastrophe. I will definitely say. It was a catastrophe.
He didn't have the tact to say it the right way,
It was a catastrophe, but not because we did anything wrong. It was because of the elements. It was a tornado. So, there was a tornado that happened, and it was pouring down rain. Okay. I did not know at the time that that when rain comes, that humidity forces balloons not to float. So we're sitting there, we're putting helium in these balloons, and the balloons were not going up in the air because it was so humid, because it was about to start pouring down rain. And then when it started to rain, so the balloons were on the floor, and I'm like, we just spent all this money paying for all of this helium, and it's not floating. I don't understand what's going on.
Wow.
But
you learn from it.
That was the biggest learning experience. And guess what? I then started teaching other people. I started training other people. And now those are my partners. I give them jobs. Every time we get jobs, I'm like, hey, I got this job. I can't do it. I can't do it all. Like I'm getting jobs left and right here. Take it. And people don't understand that you being pouring into other people now, like that's how Juneteenth was able to be so successful. I did not have a bunch of major artists, like a lot of, some of my Juneteenth partners, they boast, oh, we're going to have this major artist. That's what, you got to come to hear that. No, I want you to come to hear and see local people, local businesses, local artists performing. And people are like, so you're not going to have a big artist? And I'm like, no, this is all about the community. And people are like, oh, that's not going to be successful. And we absolutely have, because it is not about somebody coming to see one major artist. Because what happens next year, we don't have the money to have that major artist.
See, yeah.
and that's exactly what has happened. So definitely kudos to you. I know we're coming up on the hour, and I want you to tell us specifically, like when I log in to Circulate Black, what exactly do I see? Like, what are the different areas for me as an individual to be a part of?
Oh yeah, good question. So when you come into Circulate Black, there are 4 main areas that allow you to engage. Those are the areas of engagement. First is that we have the Black Social Media Network, right? Which allows you to go and talk and share and comment and whatnot. I mentioned a little bit about that. Also, we have the business directory, because we want Circulate Black to be known as a place where everything Black happens, or where Black empowerment happens, Black economic empowerment happens. So they need to find you. So you have a business directory you can set up. You can set your business up in the business directory. And then we have a marketplace that works kind of like Amazon. Set up your store, put your products on there. You can sell your products, and everything like that. It comes to the platform. You get your piece. Circulate Black gets its small piece or whatnot. You ship and send your products out. So imagine it like being a consignment in another mall somewhere, right? Except it's digital, it's online. So you understand the concept of a marketplace. So we have a Black merchant marketplace, a Black business marketplace, retailer marketplace is what I call it. Also, I know that as companies, we're seriously undercapitalized, and a lot of times we're not ready to go get funding or whatnot, and we need to, go through some steps to get there. We have resources on there for it, but I decided to build in crowdfunding. So there's a crowdfunding platform that's inside of there. And so you can go and set up your crowdfunding campaign and send people the links to it. It works kind of like GoFundMe. So you're familiar with that. So same thing there. And then there's event listings where you can list your events that you have. And you can also sell tickets on Circulate Black. I'm happy to announce that we've done a couple of Ricky Smiley shows and sold tickets there on Circulate Black, and it was very successful to do that. We've done a couple of blues shows, some R&B shows and whatnot. So, come on over to Circulate Black and do that. That's sort of akin to what Eventbrite is and whatnot. And then there's an area to post your jobs, right? So if you're hiring or someone who's hiring, you can go and list that in the career section of it. So you have the social media, you have the business directory, you have the marketplace, you have the crowdfunding, you have the events, and then you have jobs, an ecosystem that allows us to come together. And then once you get deeper in that, we're going to be putting up some new things that are like some investment projects or whatnot to build actual communities and commercial properties and all of that. So that's kind of a next level thing we're doing. We're also launching Circulate Black TV. That's a next level thing. And in order to do that, that's what we're doing. We're doing a raise for sponsorship. So we need sponsorship dollars to help that move forward. And then I have a little bit of an announcement that I need to make too at the end of this. So that's what you get. And then I have to say this with the joining the platform, we have our I have to shout out to Vita Jeffrey. She's in Omaha, Nebraska. She was the former director of the Heartland St. Louis Black Chamber of Commerce, and I've learned a lot through her. She's put me on very much, but something that's called a supporting cast. And so she coined that, and she has that, and she's agreed to, when we get to the level to help that as well. What that means is that we have certain companies that are on board and in place to do certain things. Like everyone we onboard to get them ready for their business, we'll run them through Pink Book Strategy, pinkbookstrategy.com. We'll run them through there, so that way they can have an assessment and an audit of where their company is in order to grow, streamline, and put them in a place to grow, scale, and perform revenue, at a greater level, right? We have Overlap Capital, which is for people who are looking for investments or they're looking for funding and lending and all of that type of stuff. I am a part of that company. So we have that. We have a capital readiness program that's in there, that's inside too. And also every member who joins Circulate Black can get 50% off of web design, maintenance, and development services at Kashande Technology. But you have to be a member, because you don't get that promo unless you're inside the platform, hitting it from your dashboard. So those are the things. And then I have a major announcement I want to make before we leave.
Okay. And how much does it cost? Because you didn't say that.
Oh, let me tell you this. Right now, it is the amazing cost. I know it's going to be hard for you guys to be able to do this, but it's worth the investment. It really is. It's the cost of free right now. Everyone can get on for free. For our businesses, now is the time to go ahead and jump on. We have resources for businesses and whatnot, like, the business directory, the marketplace and all of that, the crowdfunding and all of those things that are free to you right now if you jump in. But after a while, when there are enough people in the platform, then we go into our membership platforms. And the memberships are not a lot. If you've spent money at any chamber of commerce, then that's pretty much what you're going to pay annually to be a part of the network. And then, of course, you can advertise and sponsor and all of that type of stuff. So those are where the cost factors are. But right now, it's free to join. So just go to CirculateBLACK.com and hit that sign up for free, And after you sign up for free, you'll get an email confirmation. And in that email confirmation, check your spam. It'll put you into the platform. And if you want to go ahead and jump into doing more, then you can go ahead and upgrade your membership level, and that helps us grow and do more than what we need to do. So if you are a sponsor, then thank you, James. If you're a sponsor, you can sponsor the platform at sponsor.circulateblack.com. Or if you want to support it, you can do support.circulateblack.com. Those links are up, will be placed up here too. And then of course, if you're doing any type of support, via, Cash App or anything, it's just $Circulate Black, one word. But I'll put that out there. The announcement that I want to make though, so now that you're clear on pricing and all of that, get in for free right now. You want to get in for free. And the annual memberships are between $99 a year up to $999 a year. If you're already a member of a Black Chamber of Commerce, send us proof that you're a member of a Black Chamber of Commerce, and we'll give you the, I think it's a preferred membership. We give you that free for the first year. So even when we go into the cost basis of that, just prove to us that you are already a paid member of a Black Chamber of Commerce, wherever you are, and then we'll give you that free as an added value to say thank you for circulating Black, even with the Black Chambers and whatnot. And so the final announcement, you guys, I should have said it at the beginning so I can have everybody waiting for it. But final announcement, it's kind of funny a little bit, but I'm excited. I was in a movie, and that movie will be streaming on Tubi on April 28th. At the time of this broadcast, it's the coming Tuesday, April 28th on Tubi. And that movie is called, ready? The Snow Bunny Chronicle. Yes, that's right. A Black man who's the owner and founder of Circulate Black is in a movie called The Snow Bunny Chronicle. I wish you guys would just go ahead and go to Tubi, search for it, put it in your reminders, or you can go right now to Cinema Room. That's Cinema Room, SINEMAROOM.com, and you can go ahead and stream it now if you want to get a sneak peek ahead of time or whatnot. But those are the 2 platforms. It'll be coming to other platforms, but yeah, so I'm kind of excited about that. And so you might see somebody who looks like me up in that joint. So
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you. Okay, I wrote it down. Snow Bunny Chronicle. I'm curious. What is Snow Bunny Chronicle about?
the Snow Bunny Chronicle. The whole title is The Snow Bunny Chronicle Looks, Do, Kill. And so yeah, so it's streaming on Tubi on the 28th, and you can also go to cinemaroom.com. Cinema spelled with an S instead of a C at the beginning. So that's that. And you know, I implore people to if you're a company and you need strategy, execution, structure, and conversion, talk to me and let's put you through the Pink Book strategy. I'm sorry, Pink Print Strategy. I'm sorry, she's going to get me. pinkprintstrategy.com. Just go to pinkprintstrategy.com and you can learn about that. And then, like I said, if you want to talk to me about, you know, investment capital and all that kind of stuff, you can talk to me about that. And then I'll get you on with our capital partner after we look at what you have. But just go on, join, spread the word, share with everyone, join for free and everything like that. And then I don't know if we have it, but you know, I have a commercial. But if you don't see the commercial, it'll be on the homepage of CirculateBLACK.com.
Yeah, we definitely. I think we do. James, you want to put the commercial up for us? And while he's doing that, AT, how can people get in contact with you?
Oh, yeah.
Now is the time to circulate wealth in the Black community, and we have the platform for it. Welcome to CirculateBLACK.com. What's inside Circulate Black? A business directory, business social networking, an online marketplace, and business crowdfunding, all in one place right at your fingertips. Log on to CirculateBLACK.com today and sign up for free. Let's all work together to circulate Black dollars among Black-owned businesses to build infrastructure and wealth in the Black community.
So yeah, yeah, they can hit me at Instagram at circulate_black. On Facebook, it's Circulate Black, one word. We're starting to do a little bit of TikTok, but since we're doing our own, we're not doing a whole lot, but we will. You know, we'll utilize resources that are out there. It's just at Circulate Black there. On YouTube, it's at Circulate Black as well. But we're mostly on Facebook right now, and being that we're building out Circulate Black TV as well. For those of you who have shows and movies and everything like that that you want to get streamed, holler at me. The email address is connect@circulateblack.com, connect@circulateblack.com. Drop an email, and then we'll try to get back with you on that as soon as possible and whatnot. But the best way too is just go ahead and join the platform. Right now I'm seeing everything that's in the platform. When you come in, I'll get a chance, or I'll get a team member to get a chance to say hello and welcome you to it and everything. And I just ask you to have other people come, you know, and support the platform. You support what we're doing, we're supporting you. Even without that, we're supporting you. We just want you to be here.
We love that, and thank you for that, and thank you for sharing so much about yourself and everything that you're doing to support the Black community and the technology. Because the month of April has all been about tech, Blacks in tech, and how we as African Americans, we continue to lead the way, right? And we are in spaces where we're always challenged to see if someone is going to bite the bullet or not. Everyone's waiting to see what's going to be the next hot thing. And it's like, no, jump in now. It's no cost right now. So, I mean, other than, you know, maybe the 2 or 3 minutes it takes for you to put your contact information into the links and to follow up with so that you get it connected so you can get all the emails that come out. But this is really dope.
The social network part of it, it's always going to be free. So it's always free to join as a business. Later on, then we'll have those memberships. But right now it's free too. So I want to make sure that everyone knows that. Don't let a cost factor stop you from joining.
Join it. Now, will it be something similar to how Instagram is, where you can buy ads space so that it goes along with algorithms and people who are interested in seeing your work will show up for them?
Yes, absolutely. So that's the infrastructure that we're building right now. So that's the reason why sponsorships are very important, because there's a high cost of building out that and building it out well. But we do have advertising in place right now. If you wanted to advertise, where it's not only on the Circulate Black platform, but it's also throughout our partnered and channeled social networks. And right now, from those networks, we're touching about 2 million people. You know. And so, but those are through our channel partners. So what we do, they've given us the right to push through their channels as well when we push our advertising through. So holler at me about that. If you have shows or if you're bringing someone, a performer somewhere, and you're doing events and everything, I'd love for Circulate Black to be one of the places that you sell your tickets to the event. You log in right now. It's free to post your events. And then decide if you want to, the information's on it, decide if you want to sell tickets, and we can sell tickets through the platform, just like you sell them through all the other platforms that you do for your events as well. All of those things help us grow and get better.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that. So I have one last question before we close out.
Sure.
That's a question that we ask everybody who touches our stage. What does Juneteenth mean to you?
Oh, man. So Juneteenth to me means the freedom from bondage that has been finally given to everyone, right? It's even though it was 2 years later here in Texas, it's where I'm based, that the news came out that we were freed. You know, it's almost like when they tried to hold us back, they couldn't, and they couldn't anymore. So there were no more barriers. Let's go ahead and operate in our freedoms. Let's go ahead and make sure that we're marking the end of slavery, you know, and really take advantage of, you know, the celebration of being able to build our own, do our own, be free to walk, live, work, or whatnot, and not worry so much about the oppression that was there, the hard oppression that was there, things being against the law. I know we're having some things that they're trying to take back to Jim Crow right now, so we know it's not all done, but it also is a celebration of freedom and everyone knowing that, hey, listen, we don't have to be under those shackles anymore. It's the freedom of our mind to say, hey, listen, even though it happened in the past, we have the news now. Let's carry that news forward and let's not go backward. So that's what it means to me when I think of Juneteenth, being that, hey, the world is made aware. And just like right now, the world is being made aware that we are unaffected by what's going on, or unbothered. Let's say unbothered by what this administration has been doing out there, because we already know, we know instinctively how to come together and build things through the freedoms that we have right now, right? So let's carry that forward. And there's a celebration of that. That's what Juneteenth is a celebration of for us. And being that we were the last ones to be made aware, you know, across the country, in certain areas of the country, you know, that lets you know that there's a final pin in something that was so horrible for so many years, that has stopped, and we're on to a new legacy, a new direction, embarking on a new vision, and moving forward, you know, casting forward. So that's what it means to me.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And I'm just looking at, I realized because I'm on my phone, we had some people definitely sharing in the chat, and there is Innovative Resilience. He says, nice, I'd love to connect. I'm building something like this locally for East Brooklyn. So it might be maybe an arm within inside Circulate Black that can be designated to specific areas that are, because I'm in Georgia, and Innovative Resilience is in East New York. We have some people in Brownsville. So I think this might be some popcorn that we can put some stuff together. I also have another person I want to connect you with as well, so we could talk about that offline as far as the streaming platform is concerned, to be able to have some content, because a lot of people, I think, is in that space of just highlighting Black life and what's happening in our Black life, right? It's not always peaches and creams, and being able to share that information in a space that we have control over is not being controlled by others. Right. So AT, thank you again. It was such a pleasure having you. I
I
feel
see the
like this.
comments. Thank you all. I really appreciate you. I really appreciate
You're
it.
welcome. You're welcome. We look forward to continue this partnership and growing and see what we can do together.
Sure
Like
thing.
we talked about this entire time, we need to work on circulating a Black dollar within our community. And the only way we can do that is when we are supporting each other,
All right.
just the same.
One last thing, I want to give some shout outs just real quick. I want to shout out to Cinema Room. Thank you for putting me in the movie. Cinema Room for streaming films and whatnot. I want to shout out to Employ. Employ is unlocking the power of African remote talent. So if you're doing, how people say, hey, we're going to hire remote talent. Well, there's a Black-owned company for it. The original Black Wall Street. Shout out to them. Because of the original Black Wall Street, Angela K. Chambers, Dr. Angela K. Chambers, we have a home in Greenwood, in the Greenwood district, Tulsa, Black Wall Street. We have a home there. Circulate Black has an address and a home there. Shout out to the Lady E Effect, Edith. She's out of DC and everything. So she's does digital and business dominance. Shout out to PID, Preachers in Disguise, the founders of Christian hip hop. They are on the platform. And shout out to William T. Stars. He is a gospel hip hop artist as well. He has merchandise that says, "Give glory to God." Okay. So those are the people. And then, of course, Overlap Capital and Liberty of Life Investments. We want to shout out to Liberty of Life Investments, the investment engine behind making some of these deals happen. So those are the shout outs that I have that I wanted to make sure I remembered. And the last shout out is Rebuilt, Becoming the Man You Were Born to Be by Pastor Rashawn Bay. You'll see these on the headers of the site when you go there. And last but not least, I'm sorry, I'm trying to keep up with it. So we've got the perfect flavor and sauce. We got pure heat. Why is it not showing me this? But anyway, you'll see it on there. It's perfect mix of flavor and heat. This is pure heat out of St. Louis, and he has some flavors and some sauces and some seasonings that you definitely want to check out and everything. He was one of my first sponsors. So just wanted to give a shout out to those sponsors that were there. Pure Heat Gourmet Sauce. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much, AT. I appreciate that for sharing. And definitely go to CirculateBLACK.com, sign up. Tonight I will be presenting at 6:00 with the Merchants Association. We'll be talking about landing pages versus websites. What are the differences between the two? So it'll be a part 2 to what we've done here on Juneteenth. So if you missed it and you want to be live so that you can do some in person, definitely send me go to our website and send us a message at JuneteenthNY.com. So everyone, thank you so much for the 2 minutes over that we took from you. We appreciate your time. We appreciate your love, and we appreciate the wealth that we build together by circulating money in the Black community. Be blessed, be loved, and we'll see you next Thursday. Have a great one, everyone. Bye.
Some of you have acted on it. Now is the time to circulate wealth in the Black community, and we have the platform for it. Welcome to CirculateBLACK.com. What's inside Circulate Black? A business directory, business social networking, an online marketplace, and business crowdfunding, all in one place right at your fingertips. Log on to CirculateBLACK.com today and sign up for free. Let's all work together to circulate Black dollars among Black-owned businesses to build infrastructure and wealth in the Black community.